Welcome in. You Got Served podcast. It's like a nightclub. Reminds me of Night at the Roxbury. What is poppin'? You Got Served podcast, season 6. I can't remember what episode I'm on. I think it's 3, 4, something. Been a crazy week. Second week of the year. At what point do you stop saying Happy New Year? Larry David, I saw this a couple of weeks ago. Larry David came out and he had a commercial or something. I don't know. Said it's 3 days. I remember in Seinfeld, they were talking about, he goes, one time I got a Happy New Year in March. Now that's not right. You know, that's way too far. As an expert rule analysis director like myself, you know, we have rules within our life and social settings. And I always like to play that card and come up with life rules and life hacks and all kinds of stuff. But, you know, I think 3 days is good for the Happy New Year. Anything over that, nah. Couple comments already. Gay Boy blocked by everyone. Notification hit me like I was the Twin Towers. Did Vol Bandit really block you? No, he didn't. All right, so I guess we're going to start off with that. So the last 2 hours or so, I just don't understand what happened, but a bunch of people that's in my corner started the hashtag block Leland roast on Twitter, and it kind of took off on its own. My notifications for the past week have been nonstop. I mean, I can just click something and go through and just read off some of the wildest shit. I mean, I get DMs. I got a weird DM about Jesus today, and it was very disturbing. I won't even read it. It was so disturbing. That's very unlikely of me. So I guess I'll tell the story, and I'll back it up from last week when Georgia was playing in their bowl game versus Texas. Or no, they didn't play Texas. They played Texas, right? Okay. So, I mean, it's just comical at this point. And part of me thinks that my tweets get pushed out more than they would in the past. I've mentioned this, how I believe, I feel like this mic isn't sounding good. Do I sound good? Test. Let me go into the settings here real quick. Let's do that. Okay. I hate how soft folks are nowadays, man. Sounds gay. Yes. You are a little fuzzy, but nothing to complain about. Okay. Probably my internet sucks. Us poors. Okay. So it all started last week in the Georgia game. Now, like I said, I mentioned plenty of times that I believe since Elon has taken over, my tweets have been pushed out. Nobody's shadow banned anymore. So I don't know how it works, the algorithm, but my tweets get hit hard. I mean, they blow up. You're a heater on, my guy. Yeah, thanks. It's exhausting. I'll tell you that. I've never been as viral as someone like Hawk to a Girl, but I can imagine that shit is quite annoying. Remember when she did her thing? Um, it wasn't necessarily. Yeah, you're right, Eric. It is for the U page. I get stuff on my For You page that is wild, 10 times worse than anything I've ever tweeted. I mean, I get Hitler jokes in my For You page. But as far as the Hawk to a Girl, her thing wasn't really on her social media per se. It was on social media, but it wasn't herself saying something and a tweet and it went viral. Just some other guy and she went viral herself. And then if you remember, she disappeared for a while because people were coming out with conspiracies about who she is and what was she doing and all these ideas. And then I felt like it was a month later, she comes out and says, "I'm this, this, and this." Dude, my DMs are wild. But Hawk to a Girl, I can't imagine being that viral. I mean, I'm just getting like on the Georgia tweet, and I'll read that in just a second. The Georgia tweet, I got 2.1 million views, 1,000 retweets. Okay, that's nothing compared to what Hawk Tua has done or some of the big TikTok stars or some of the, Elon can tweet the word fart and it's going to get, 30 million retweets, something like that. So it's exhausting. I gotta say it is exhausting. Now during the games, one of my favorite things about Twitter is that we can all come together and watch, especially football. We can watch the same game. We don't have to be at each other's houses. The internet has brought us together and the social media has brought us together where we can live tweet these games. Facebook, you can't really do it per play as fast as you can on Twitter. Twitter's fast. You got to be up to date. If you're gone from Twitter in 15 minutes, you can come back and check your phone and literally anything can spread like wildfire, right? So during the game, I love when everybody gets on, we're watching the game, and we're just in sync. It's just so much fun. So I like this, make my little funny jokes and make my little puns. And so obviously they had the terrorist attack in, when I load this up on YouTube, it'll probably get me canned. Obviously New Orleans had the terrorist attack. Awful situation. Okay. Terrible, terrible situation. Lost lives on our home soil. Very, very awful. Okay. Now, a lot of people took my tweet, and I'll read it right here in a second, and made it like I was making fun of the terrorist attack. That was not it at all. I was making fun of Georgia. So here it is. Do you think when Kirby Smart first heard about a car running through a crowd, he immediately thought it was one of his own players? Now, if you are around the SEC, you know about Georgia's off the field issues with the players. They have been known in the past year to get in cars at high speed, maybe alcohol's involved, and they've killed people. And that has become an ongoing joke on itself. It's funny how people can pick and choose what they want to be mad about or pick and choose what they think is funny. Like, it's obviously awful that the Georgia fans or the Georgia players have killed people, but the whole internet makes fun of it. But when I mix it with a terrorist attack, oh God, it's the worst thing ever. Like, you can't pick and choose what you want to laugh at. You're either all in or you're not. Okay? And I've seen things way worse in the past week than I've ever said. that nobody gets mad at, right? And it's the same thing. It's the reason why I have this podcast, free speech, right? I believe everything should be open to being made fun of. Nothing should be off limits. I've mentioned before how the people who get mad, who don't like dark humor, they don't get to police me. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. The people that do not like dark humor, you don't get to choose what I think is funny. Okay? That'd be like me laughing at the word fart and you getting mad because I like the word fart. Okay? No. You're not going to do that. You're not going to police what I like. Now, you don't have to read what I post, and you certainly don't have to follow me. And there's plenty of times where I see things online and I keep scrolling. I mean, I've watched Family Guy before, and Family Guy has made Jesus jokes before. I don't necessarily like them. I don't think they're funny, but I don't get mad about it because everything should be open. Okay, and I'm gonna say it for the 1,000th time. That's why we are where we are when it comes to entertainment. When was the last time you saw a quality comedy in theaters or out on streaming? When was the last time we got The Hangover? When was the last time we got Wedding Crashers? Dude, Bad Santa could not be made nowadays. Okay, that was peak comedy. Rodney Dangerfield could not be on stage this time in our life in 2025. So I wanted to read you off some of the comments. I mean, I love the people who help me with this because you understand. I appreciate everybody who goes to bat for me. I really do. I really do appreciate, because I feel like you guys are just like me. All the people on Twitter that follow me, all the people right now watching this dumbass podcast, like, you don't have to be watching this shit, but I appreciate it. Like, if one person watched this, Johnny, you're welcome. If one person watched this stupid podcast, then I would hope I could influence that person to say what they want to say when they want to say it. Make comedy great again. Let's laugh, people. Everything is miserable. Let's laugh. Thank you for everybody who comes to bat for me. I appreciate it so much. People under my comments. I mean, I gained followers. I've gained people because of my George Floyd tweet last night. Dude, this is the same platform that's made jokes about Aaron Hernandez being hung. But George Floyd, a man that held a gun at a pregnant woman's belly to rob her, that is off limits. A piece of shit like George Floyd, a druggie, and a thug. You're mad because I made a death joke about him. Get the fuck out of here. Get out. No, I will not stop. I will never stop. Nothing will ever make me stop tweeting and posting what I want to post about. So last night, we all watched Tennessee get their ass beat, and Tennessee started out. I don't even know what their opening field goals were, but I know, for instance, Florida was it was 14-0 before Tennessee scored. So I posted a tweet about George Floyd. I said, me if I held my breath for one more possession waiting for Tennessee to score. Picture of George Floyd. Initially, it got pretty good. Pretty good tracking, right? My mentions right now. I can't even check my mentions. Pretty good tracking. Not No, the people who are smart are not offended over that. Okay? I can make a case for some of the things I say being offensive. Okay? Let's be real. I don't care. I don't care what you say to me. I had somebody tell me to wrap my car around a tree. It doesn't bother me. It's the internet. That's the mindset everybody needs to have. You should not give a fuck about what anybody says to you on the internet. Shout out Rob. So it's funny, in my bookmarks on Twitter, I got a category called mean tweets, and I just go and bookmark all the mean tweets. I got one viral tweets. Does anybody have bookmark like you? What's your bookmark titles? Like I got mean tweets, memes, my viral tweets, Vols, podcast topics, Home Alone, politics, dirty, nerd, and Cowboys. That's all my Anybody label their bookmarks like that? I don't know if anybody even has bookmarks, but anyway, on Twitter. So I'll go to my viral tweets, and where is that at? It's actually not in there. Let's see here. And I get randos in my mentions. People who have never said 2 words to me in my mentions talking about go kill yourself. Go, just don't get it. Does it bother you that much that look at these comments, like CJ Vol, Topher Gray said classless with the SpongeBob mocking meme. Yeah, you're not funny, buddy. This super weird would be. Yeah, you're not funny, buddy. This super weird would be hurt if someone made fun of you or your family. Well, first of all, nobody in my family has ever pointed a gun to a pregnant woman's belly and is a thug like George Floyd. So, sorry for that one. Laughing. What the hell's wrong with you? Damn Leland. Laughing. Doubt you're on ungodly amounts of drugs, though. You're a weirdo. Easiest block of my life. Well, I go to bed. Of course, when you go to bed, you wake up with 1,000 DMs, notifications, wild. I woke up with this one, and they showed me this. They showed me this screenshot of this person. I've never even seen the account. It's at TOSAPPHO. Talasia Cooper Glazer. And it's her AVI is of a doll with a Tennessee hat. Oh, it's the Mrs. Claus from the old Santa Claus is Coming to Town with a Tennessee hat on. She tweeted, literally the first time I've ever blocked someone on this account. How do y'all still let this guy get away with saying shit like this, and not even the week before he was joking about the New Orleans attack? I don't give a fuck about being soft. This dude is genuinely going to hell. Okay, couple things here. What are you going to do when you say let me? You're going to let me. How do you let this guy get away with saying this shit? Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to bombard my mentions like you already do? Are you going to block me on Twitter? Like, I don't understand that. Like, are you going to come lynch me over words on the internet? It reminds me of the time when I call it the Great J.G. Keller-Chris debate of 2018. When we look back on that quarterback battle when Pruitt was here. And we would always shit on JG and would cause a ruckus. Weirdest time in my life that would cause a ruckus compared to 9/11 jokes. But you couldn't say anything without like I've mentioned how all the time how JG sucked and he was a below average quarterback. And dude, I got death threats because I said he was a below average quarterback. What are we doing? And she said, I don't care if I'm being soft. Yeah, it's soft. It's definitely soft because you're letting words on the internet affect your day. Shout out Rob. Donald, you're out of control, bitch. So then another lady who I've never said 2 words to, she said something like, I smell bad or something. Hold on, I gotta find this. My God. I need a producer. What the fuck is wrong with this motherfucker? Stupid ass, wet dog smelling ass bitch. Kiki 033194. I just, you're that mad. So then, fast forward another 2 hours is when everybody like Bandit and everybody that loved me conditionally, shout out Rob, Donald, DR, Vol Bandit, he blocked me, and that's how they got the trend going. Always the random number accounts. You got that right. It's always the accounts who hide their face. I think that's why people hate me. I think that's why, because if you go to your For You page and you find a controversial tweet, it's always by somebody that doesn't show their face, right? And I've said it 1,000 times that to have social media, it should make you show your face. How could you imagine? Could you imagine if you every time you log into Twitter or Facebook, you had to scan your face? There'd be a lot of accounts saying a lot of different things. I tell you that. You should have to back up your words with your face. Okay? It's just mind blowing. You have nothing better to do. Just mind blowing. So that's basically the gist of it. Spent 22 minutes on that. It's fun. Dell Senior. What's up with the soup thing? Like this, everybody's a soup. Like it's a dog with a hat. What is that? What's up with the soup brigade? Soup brigade. I can't even say it. I can't even speak today. So let's get in some real news. Let's talk about Joy Taylor getting pounded out between a love triangle at fake Cox Sports 1. So if you haven't heard or been living under a rock, and I'll tell you what, we're talking about Twitter from a sports vantage point. Be on Twitter when there's a scandal. I'm telling you. Great top 5 moments when Jameis Winston stole crab legs. When I don't know if anybody remembers the airline that tweeted a picture of a woman's poontang with an airplane inside the poontang. Does anybody remember that? Top 5 moment on this app. It was quite a long time ago. There was an airline, I can't remember, United or somebody. They tweeted out a picture of a woman with a plane in her hoochie. Anyway, top 5 moment is when there's a scandal and you get on Twitter. So the other night, news breaks. Skip Bayless, they had the show over at they had the show over at Fake Sports 1 is what I call it. Typical show that spews off hot takes. Everybody knows Leland is a walking scandal. Everybody knows the hot takes brigade. Nobody likes Skip Bayless. He's one of the most hated media guys. It's only fitting that he would come out for sexual assault. Apparently, he would make advances towards his hairdresser that worked there, right? Us poor people. Worked as a hairstylist at Fox part-time from 12 to 16, then full-time from 16 to 24. 42-page lawsuit, she alleged that Bayless propositioned her for sex multiple times, including offering her $1.5 million. So let's stop right there. What poon is worth $1.5 million? Because I wouldn't imagine it would be some hairstylist from Fox Sports 1, right? When I think $1.5 million to get laid, we're talking about what? Sydney Sweeney? Are we talking about? Would Sydney Sweeney, like, would she be 5 mil, 10 mil? And who would be 1 mil? Ain't no poon worth that, even for me. You're lying. You're lying, Rob. Rob, if you had stacks of cash, you are going to spend money on a name and an icon. I guarantee it. I know, Rob. I've seen your hookers. They're pretty damn hot, I got to admit. These ladies that you bang are up there like Sports Illustrated swimsuit models. They're just not known, and they're whores. But I got to give you props. They're good looking. They're 10s. But there's something different about a name. Okay. Yes, I'm Sydney Thomas. Definitely. Not a fucking hairdresser. You're correct. But who is worth 1.5 mil? I just can't wrap my... Cameron Brink is for me, right? If it wasn't for his face, Leland would be a pretty good looking guy. There you go. Love a good roast. Better chance to contract AIDS. Vol Rob or Magic Johnson. He's halfway there. That's correct. So, okay, so past that, she comes back to him and says, I have cancer. Did she make the cancer scare up? Or did she really have cancer? No one knows. And if you use a cancer scare, it's pretty creative, honestly, to get rid of a pervert, right? Is that something people can do? Or can you get canceled for that? Can you get canceled for faking cancer? And I don't mean full on. I'm talking about to get rid of a perv like she did with Skip Bayless. Now, if she has cancer, sorry, you'll never hear me say sorry, but no one knows if she has cancer or did she use it. I don't know. But if she did have cancer, that sucks. So she said in this lawsuit that he would give her lingering hugs after every haircut, putting his body against her own, pressing against her breasts. He then began to kiss her. She also alleged Dixon, who was the Charlie Dixon, the VP, groped her during Joy Taylor's birthday party in 2017. There's more on Charlie Dixon. Let's get to that in a second. An anonymous Fox employee said in the suit that she told the hairdresser that her contract was not renewed because she refused to have sex with Dixon. This is just a whole clusterfuck. I mean, so let's get to the Joy Taylor. First off, let's talk about Skip. He looks like a pervert, don't he? I mean, he's just so weird. He is so damn. When he gets close in the camera, he's so damn cringy. And there's videos after Cowboys games where he'll sit there and he'll go, and he'll sit there and he'll huff and puff. And could you imagine his wife, Ernestine, and getting penetrated by that? And him huffing and puffing? I mean, God almighty, that's disgusting. So, shout out to the hairdresser for not having sex with him. Also, have you noticed that for about a day, all the accounts were silent except for Skip? Skip was the only one that kept tweeting. Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Achu went silent for a good 24 hours. And it's like one of those things where the whole world is watching you. And if I had more time tonight, I would have uploaded the Achu video in his car. He deleted. He went on and on about Joy Taylor. Comes to find out they were fucking. Joy Taylor was fucking the vice president, Charlie Dixon, who sexually harassed the hairdresser. It's all connected. She was fucking the VP and Emmanuel Achu. And then the internet goes back and finds tweets about how they were connected. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Levi, go fuck yourself. They were having wine at his house, and he didn't have any shoes on. The internet saw that he didn't have shoes on, and they were sipping wine. You know they were banging, 100%. She's bad too. I got to admit, I didn't know that was Jason Taylor's sister. You remember Jason Taylor that used to play for the Miami Dolphins? That's his sister. She bad though, I got to admit, but not bad now. Just thinking about her and Achu screwing. You think he goes over all his terrible sports takes? You remember he was the one that had that wrote the book about the having a conversation with, or having an uncomfortable conversation with a black man. Like he's one of those dudes, like a Mark Jones type. You know, the fine line between racism and white guilt. He's one of those types, right? So then she doesn't impress me. That's crazy, Rob. So then you got Richard Giannotti, Joy Taylor's ex-husband, who she cheated on Fox Sports coworkers with. Dude, I feel bad for this dude. He was at home doing whatever, taking care of the kids, and she's getting pounded out by coworkers. Do y'all think Shannon Sharp hit that too? Was it a 3? Was 3 taking rotations on Joy Taylor? Was she getting passed around? Yeah, they did have dinner together. They did have dinner together. And I remember hearing a story about the husband. What didn't the husband have some weird vibes at the dinner table between the Charlie Dixon and Joy Taylor? There was some kind of weird thing that they were mentioning at the dinner, and the husband felt weird. He knew there was something going on. Well, she was getting pounded out behind the scenes. But it's just wild. The internet, and then they took Achu's picture when he's in the car going on the rant, bragging about her, and they put a bottle of Joy, Joy, the dishwashing detergent. They put it in his nose made us smell it like it was Joy Taylor. I mean, my God. Internet is just, it's wild. Let's flip gears to some sports. Been on 35 minutes here. So Monday was the end of the, or Sunday was the end of the regular season for the NFL. The Monday was Black Friday, where they fire some of the coaches. I want to go around and talk about some of these coaching vacancies and everything, and just tie in with my rant on my Cowboys. So no one cares about the Saints, the Jags, Raiders. Now the Pats is interesting. Did I say Black Friday? I didn't say Black Friday, Levi. I said Black Monday, didn't I? Monday was Black Friday. Okay. So the Patriots picked Gerard Mayo to be the coach in waiting, basically, to learn under Bill Belichick. He was handpicked. He was going to be the next coming. And by the way, if you went through Bill Parcells and then through Bill Belichick, why would you go straight to Gerard Mayo? I don't understand going from the same type of coach with basically the same three personalities. If you're going to sign Mullins, I got my mic from Walmart. Don't shop at Walmart for UT gear. Why would you sign Gerard Mayo when you could just hire Bill Belichick back last year for the Patriots and it'd be the same hire? It's the same hire. Why would you do that? So anyway, Gerard Mayo former Vol, gets a raw deal, comes in, no quarterback, roster's terrible, and he gets fired after year one. Now, I didn't care for the guy. I mean, he is what he is. Have no opinion on him. Don't know if he overcoached this year. I know he was in a couple of games. You know, a couple things went a different way. Maybe they would have won. Maybe they would have hovered around 500. That's fine. That's what you want to see in year one with no roster. You want to see if you can elevate your roster on the field through X's and O's, scheme, whatever, right? So why would you fire him when he basically did better than Belichick in 2023? I don't know. I don't know about that. So then you got the Bears, who I think have the best situation going forward. And I was never a huge Caleb Williams fan. I didn't really have an opinion on him, didn't know what I was going to get out of him. Really didn't know anything going forward. Quarterbacks are tough to evaluate nowadays because the college system is one read and throw it or run. No one knows what you're going to get at the next level with a quarterback. It's not like it was 20 years ago when Peyton was coming out. Some of those guys were coming out. You knew what you were going to get. You could read defenses. You could watch film. College kids does not watch film. Okay? One read, throw the ball. If the read isn't there, you're going to run. So, out of all the vacant places, Saints, no quarterback, let's be real. Jags, Trevor Lawrence sucks, roster sucks, ownership sucks, city sucks. Raiders, ownership sucks. They got a new stadium. You got a good tight end. Who the fuck cares about a tight end? No quarterback. Haven't done shit in 2 decades. Pats, we just talked about them. So the best situation going forward is kind of like last year would probably be the Chargers, right? Now, the Chargers to this point had a better roster than the Bears, but at least the quarterback's in place. I believe in Caleb Williams now. I'm a Caleb Williams believer. I think he made a lot of good throws. I think he kept the Bears in a lot of big games. So they need to go find a Ben Johnson type, a creative on offense. Don't go hire a Mike Vrabel. Now, I think Mike Vrabel is the best coaching candidate currently out there. But I wouldn't hire him for the Bears because they need an offensive guy. Now, let me tell you about my thing with Vrabel. Now, a lot of Titans fans follow me on Twitter and social media, obviously Tennessee. Now, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I always felt Mike Vrabel had the Titans in a lot of games battling. They were a tough out. They were tough on defense. They would rush the passer. They would cover, and they would tackle. Okay? Separate the offense for a second. Vrabel, the Titans franchise is not sexy. It's not going to get the big-time free agents. It's a boring franchise. It's not going to wow anybody like the big markets, okay? Now, Nashville is probably considered a big market, but the Titans themselves is not a big market in the grand scheme of things, like, Dallas, San Francisco, New York, whatever. So, Vrabel had them boys always ready to play. One thing I noticed about them, and I didn't watch a lot of Titans games, but I noticed that they were in a lot of the games battling, and it would always be low-scoring, knockout, dragout. Now, that's where you have to find somebody to pair with Mike Vrabel, okay? The Cowboys are a finesse team. They're pussies. They do not have a backbone. They're gutless, okay? They need a kick in the pants. They are used to the glitz and the glamour. And when Bill Parcells was brought here to lay down the law, he took a shitty team, he built the roster, and he took them to the playoffs with Quincy Carter. SEC fans, do you remember Quincy Carter? Bill Parcells took him to the playoffs. Eventually, the roster got better. Wade Phillips took over. They did whatever. Romo took over. They had a good roster going forward. Anyway, point is I'm trying to make is when the Cowboys had somebody like Bill Parcells, they weren't pushed around. The Cowboys are currently pushed around. That's why they suck in the postseason. Okay? Now, Jerry wants to make everything a show. Okay? He would rather have headlines and Donald, I'll answer your question here in just a second. They would rather make headlines. Jerry would rather be in the news than to go out and do the right decision he needs to make for his football team. Okay? Let's back up the Cowboys train a little bit. So they get blown out by the Packers in the playoffs last year. And VZ, I know the Jones can't get out of their own way. Yes. Now I'll say this: Jerry isn't involved. This is going to surprise some people. Jerry isn't involved with the team as much as you think. Steven, the son, is actually the one who makes a lot of. Well, they make the decisions together. But for instance, Jerry wanted to draft Johnny Manziel. They had the name written down on the card on the draft. Steven vetoed it and said, "Dad, you're not drafting him." They ended up drafting Zach Martin, Hall of Fame guard from Notre Dame. Great pick. Johnny Manziel ended up being what he was. The Cowboys. Now, I don't believe in teams overspending in free agency because teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars do, and they spend money on rejects and retreads that don't fit the system or are older and get hurt, and you wasted all your money and wasted the cap. You build through the draft, find your quarterback, and you build the roster that way. You build it from the inside out. If you want a blueprint on how to build a roster, look at what Dan Campbell did with the Detroit Lions. Quarterback first, they went 3-13. Jared Goff. build up your lines, offensive and defense. Then you go get in positions that doesn't matter, like running back and linebacker. Those positions don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You run the football, you play defense, you be physical, and you wear teams down. Towards the end of Romo's era in Dallas, they had the best offensive line. They were physical on offense. They were great on offense. Ground and pound, play action pass. Romo would hit big plays to Witten and Dez. That worked, okay? Not throwing the ball over the field. But you flip that around on defense, Dallas has never been that way. Why is that? They've never been physical. Trayvon Diggs refuses to make it. My grandmother is dead, and she makes better tackles than Trayvon Diggs in open space. My dead grandmother makes better tackles than Trayvon Diggs. Bring Vrabel to somewhere like Dallas. I'm not really even saying Dallas. I would want him. But he's going to coach up your team and elevate everybody on the team through physicality, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster, physical, all that shit. Okay? He took Ryan Tannehill throwing for a total of I think in those first two playoffs games when they went to the AFC Championship, Ryan Tannehill didn't even throw for over 110 yards. But they made it to the AFC Championship because they were physical on defense. They shut down Tom Brady like his last year with the Patriots. Vrabel was great, but his team had a lot of injuries. I mean, injuries is part of the game. It almost seems like it's every other year. Your team will be healthy and it won't. It's kind of like there's an odd universe with it's like those teams that win one-score games. Well, the next year you're going to lose one-score games because that's how that close. If the NFL is so close and the parity is so minimal for your mistakes. But I get the injuries thing. And the Cowboys went through their fair share of them, but they were shit at the beginning of the year. Now, Donald asked earlier in the comments, do I want them to bring back Mike McCarthy? At this point, who else are you going to hire? I don't really want a new guy. Everybody's on this Ben Johnson train. Ben Johnson is great. He's fun, and he runs a flea flicker, and he pitches the ball on a hook and ladder, and he he throws to the lineman. All that shit's cute, right? I don't give a shit about all that. I do want you to be creative, unlike Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel needs to go watch Ben Johnson's offense. I'll say that, but I just don't want a first-time head coach in Dallas. Give me something that's kind of established, so your options are limited. Now, in a free-for-all, rainbows and unicorns, you can do anything you want type of year, in a perfect world, if I was Jerry, I would go to the extreme. Let's do something wild. I'm at the end of my death. I'm at the end of my life. I would have hired Belichick last year. I would have hired Belichick this year. I would go full on force to Nick Saban. I would do something wild and make these people tell me no. But for right now, I would try to figure out what you're going to do with Mike and pair him up. So, VZ, you said maybe keep Mike but downgrade him back to OC. Well, he calls plays. Nick Saban can be a pro coach. He didn't have a quarterback. Anybody can be a coach. You're only as good as your quarterback. Okay? Pair Nick Saban up with a solid offensive coordinator. Dak's here. Dak can get you to 12 wins. He can lead the league in passing. Find you, mix Saban up with somebody on defense. Let's get physical. Let's stop the run, and he would be fine. Nick Saban would be fine in the level. Nick Saban time with the Dolphins was let down by the Dolphins trainers. The Dolphins trainers said that Drew Brees' shoulder was not ready to go. They went with Dante Culpepper. Dante Culpepper had knee injuries. Dante Culpepper didn't do jack when he went to Miami. He was done for once he left the Vikings. If Nick Saban... So honestly, you can blame the whole Bama dynasty on the trainers for the Dolphins. If the trainers approved Drew Brees, Nick Saban would have had a quarterback. He would be there. He probably wouldn't have left. Who knows what would have happened at that point? Well, if he would have been successful, why would he ever come back to college to recruit? But what happened. He got out because he couldn't handle the NIL stuff. So Saban, yes, would be fine in NFL. But if I'm Jerry, and he doesn't want to do that stuff, he walked into the offseason and he was talking about going all in and doing what the Rams did a couple of years ago. Let's say F the cap and worry about it at a later time. You can maneuver the cap to whatever you want to save money. Every other team does it. Every other team has cap issues. Every other team has star players. Let's go wild for 1 year. But Jerry doesn't want to do that. Jerry wants to be in the news. He wants clicks. He wants his seats in the stadium to be filled. I'll tell you what, I've said this about Tennessee fans. When Tennessee fans, no luxury tax in Texas, Feezy. When Tennessee was going through their coaching spells I mentioned several times, stop going to games. Stop buying merchandise. Stop traveling with the team. Stop caring. Hit them in the wallet and they'll start. That's how you get them. That's how you would get Jerry Jones. But diehards down in Dallas who have season tickets since Tom Landry, they're still going to go to the game. They're still going to tailgate. They're still going to buy the jerseys and the merchandise. I listen to the Cowboys local talk show guys down there, which one of them is a VFL. They said the other day, they were like, dude, I feel sorry for the Metroplex down in Dallas because we're at purgatory. It's never ending. I don't know what they're going to do. So they're going to bring. So they denied. Mike McCarthy to speak to the Bears, which tells me two things. They either tell me that he's coming back or they're going to do him dirty. Wait till his contract expires, which will be, I think it's Sunday maybe. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. And if they don't hire him back, musical chairs. Everybody has a seat. But Mike McCarthy, that'd be fucked. But they're going to keep him. And let's shift gears a little bit to the playoffs coming up. So one of my favorite times of the year, speaking of the Cowboys, if the Cowboys aren't in it, I don't have to worry about getting roasted on the interwebs. I get roasted for other stuff, like George Floyd. Saturday, we have Chargers and Texans, Steelers, Ravens. Sunday, Broncos, Bills, Packers, Eagles, Commanders, Buccaneers for Monday Night Football. No, wait, that's Sunday night. Monday Night Football is Vikings and Rams. Very good slate. I like these matchups. I feel like there's a few automatic wins if you're a gambling person. We talk about gambling on here a few times. If you want to come up with a Ravens, Bills, Ohio State parlay, I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it. Toss-up games. How in the world are the Chargers a 3-point favorite on the road? Do you dabble with the Chargers? That tells you right there, right? If a road team is a favorite, that's a red flag that they're going to win, right? Like you know the old saying, Vegas knows. That's a red flag the Chargers are going to win. Is that an automatic win? You think? If a road team is favorite, two even teams, I should say, not necessarily. You know, Texans aren't good. No, they're not. Steelers Ravens. I'm telling you right now, I don't like the dabbling in the spread 9.5 for a playoff game, but the Steelers are cooked. They are absolutely cooked. Everybody's fed up with the quarterback situation. Offense is atrocious. Defense, the only way I could see anything weird happen in that game is if, Lamar takes some of the criticism and it gets inside of his head. The lack of playoff success gets inside of his head a little bit. And the Ravens fuck around and mess around and keep the Steelers in it. That's the only way I can think about that. Something crazy would happen. But as of right now, I would put the Ravens in a parlay with something. Sunday at 1 o'clock, probably the least sexy matchup. Broncos, Bills. I mean, Bo Nix. Bills are sexy. Broncos, do you really care? Sean Payton, he's unlikable. Can you really honestly name anybody on the Broncos team besides Bo Nix? I'm being funny, but I'm just saying, 8.5 point favorite Buffalo. Do you think the Broncos could keep up with them if the weather's nice? That is tough, man. That's a big spread, but I would definitely use them in a parlay. Use the Bills. Switch gears to Sunday at 4:30. We got the Packers and the Eagles. Eagles have some issues with Jalen Hurts. Someone said that he's still in concussion protocol. I'm not 100% sure. Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur can be dangerous. Of course, they're not playing the Cowboys, so when I hate the Eagles more than life itself. Did you get that? More than life itself? I hate the Eagles, but when they're clicking, they're dangerous. The team's well rested. Saquon's rested. He's had a resurgence of his career. Resurgence. And then you got Sunday night, Broncos or Buccaneers and Commanders. Would you trust a rookie quarterback on the road in good weather? That's a blessing in disguise, right? Playing in Tampa. Or Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield at home in the playoffs. By the way, has anybody who's had an easier road in the playoffs than Baker Mayfield? I mean, I wish Dak had his, because last year they played. Who'd they play last year? Was it last year they beat Philly? Philly was struggling at the end, yeah. So you get a struggling Philly team. If Dak had Baker Mayfield's playoff road, I'd be happy. His first year, when he was with Cleveland, they play. Remember Cleveland's playoff win against that shitty Steelers team with dead-armed Ben Roethlisberger? That was Baker Mayfield's first playoff win. Cleveland's first playoff win in 3 decades or something. But do you take Baker at home, good weather, again, or, a team that's trying to become something, rookie quarterback, Dan Quinn. Tampa Bay is 3 point favorites. By the way, did you see where they let Mike Evans get his 1,000 yards? Now, would it be shitty gamesmanship, sportsmanship? So the Broncos, I'll just paint this picture. I keep calling them the Broncos. The Buccaneers the other day, they had a comeback win versus the Saints. Mike Evans needed at the end of the game, he needed 5 yards to become the first wide receiver in history to have 1,000 yards in 11 straight seasons, something like that. Buccaneers line up. They could easily just take a knee. Game's over. They line up. He runs an out route. He catches the ball. If you're the Saints and you know it's coming, why not put 3, 4, 5, 6 guys around Mike Evans? Leave everybody else wide open. Who cares? They're obviously going to get the ball to Mike Evans and keep him from getting that record. It's in the division, so it's not like, there's some bad blood there anyway. You might as well add to it. Why not keep Mike Evans from getting that record? Is that bad? Or is that funny? Or would you do it? I'd do it. I'd put 3 or 4 DBs around Mike Evans to keep from doing that. I don't think it's Bush League, VZ. I've always been the type. I watched Randy Johnson pitch a perfect game against the Braves. I'm a huge Braves fan, obviously, right here. I was rooting for the Braves to break up the perfect game. A perfect game is rare. Once in a lifetime to watch. And I was sitting there watching it. I don't want the Braves to be a part of that. I'm loyal. Fandom reigns. Whatever. Monday Night Football. Vikings and Rams. Has the Sam Darnold experiment ran its course? Is it over? I don't know. I know it's one bad game, but it is Sam Darnold. And I know, look, here's my Sam Darnold thing. He is what he is. He was a bust. He's a retread quarterback. Props to Kevin O'Connell for bringing out the best of him. They went 14-3. So, was it a one-hit wonder, or do you re-sign him? I personally think you are what you are. I personally think you are what you are. Now, everybody thinks J.J. McCarthy is the next coming for some reason. I don't understand this J.J. McCarthy thing with Minnesota. I know he won a national championship at Michigan, but he's not good. I don't think he was that great. Especially if I see a guy that Penn State that year, he didn't throw for any yards in the second half. What top quarterback ever, think about this, in high school, a phenom in high school, a top recruit in college, a high draft pick in the NFL. When has ever a top quarterback just not thrown for any yards in the second half because you just was running the football? Your team was just running the football. I don't understand that. That's what J.J. McCarthy did against Penn State that year. I know that's not necessarily his call, but doesn't that speak volumes? You think LSU in 2021, when they're lighting the field up with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, that Joe Burrow against Alabama would not throw a pass? That's laughable. I just don't understand the J.J. McCarthy thing. But I would sign Darnold again. I would roll my chances with Sam Darnold over a guy with a knee injury, and let's see. Let's roll with both of them, I guess. 1-year option. What if he doesn't want the 1-year option? What if he wants security? Let's talk about the Rams a little bit. Sean McVay has done it. I've never liked the guy. Sean McVay, great coach, though. Great offensive coordinator or offensive play caller. Kind of under the radar a little bit. I could 100%. If you want to get dangerous, as Baker Mayfield says, if you want to get dangerous on the bets, add the Rams. Add the Rams to your parlay. Why not? They're at home. Vikings just got punched in the mouth. Who would you trust more in the playoffs? Matt Stafford or Sam Darnold? Matt Stafford for me, and I'm not even a huge Matt Stafford fan. One last thing, and we'll head off here. Let's talk about the college football playoff. So tomorrow, I didn't even realize the game was tomorrow. The games were tomorrow. Started tomorrow. Penn State and Notre Dame might be a snooze fest. Who knows? I might be totally wrong about this. It might give us the best game, honestly. It might be a 10-7 game, but by God, it may be physical and a lot of punts and, good defense, if you like that type of thing. I would, in a perfect world, I would wish for a 21-24 type game between those two. I honestly think Notre Dame's a lock for this. James Franklin kind of sucks when it comes to big games. He has the better quarterback, I think. I know Riley Leonard is what he is, but Riley Leonard doesn't throw it like the other one does. I believe Notre Dame has the better defense. I believe Marcus Freeman is the better coach by a smidge. Not head and shoulders, but by a smidge. I would take, you could do Notre Dame. Let's see what these odds are real quick. I'll do this really quick online. Log in my DraftKings. Kind of come up with something fun. Now you could do, let's go to college football. So you could do, let's go Notre Dame. Let's go Ohio State. Let's go to the NFL. So you could do Ravens and Bills. So that's plus 295 if you did a parlay. I like it. Hell, you don't feel good about Notre Dame? Let's take it out. Ohio State, the Ravens, and the Bills plus 113. I think that's doable. I think you could do something like that. I've kind of gotten away from the point spreads. I've gotten burned so bad. I have more luck with money lines. I know you got to find the right value for them. I get all that. Obviously, don't bet on something like the Ravens right now is minus 485. That's not value. You would have to put $485 down to get 100. That's not value. Did you see the guy who put down? What was the major upset that we had recently? I don't know. It was 6-something, minus 600. And he put down 600 and he lost it. He thought it was a lock. That team ended up losing. I can't remember who it was. So my picks for the weekend to recap: Notre Dame, Ohio State. Honestly, I wish the Texas and Ohio State game was in a different bracket. We could get that for the Natty. I think it's going to be like one of those things where we had the Chiefs-Bills AFC conference title game was actually better than the Super Bowl that year. We've had plenty of semifinal games better than the national championship plenty of times. But I truly believe that Texas and Ohio State would be a better national championship. Notre Dame, Ohio State, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Bills, the Eagles. I'm basically just picking all home games, aren't I? Let's go one upset on the road. Let's go Commanders on the road. And let's go Rams at home. All home games win. All home teams win. That's all I got for tonight, folks. I can't wait. Be on the Twitter webs. Say more shit. Let's get together. Let's have fun. Let's watch football this weekend. Let's get snowed. Everybody stay safe. Get snowed in this weekend. You Got Served podcast. Thanks for everybody for listening and supporting me. I really do mean that. I know it's kind of cucky to say, but I appreciate everybody having my back for this shit. I make comedy again. I'm out.